ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय।
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 Let's recite together the Mangalacharan prayers. ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य
ज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य
ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया
ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया
चक्षुरुन्मिलितं
चक्षुरुन्मीलितं
येन
येन
तस्मै
तस्मै
श्रीगुरवे
श्रीगुरवे
नमः।
नमः।
श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं
श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं
स्थापितं
स्थापितं
येन
येन
भूतले
भूतले
स्वयं
स्वयं
रूपः
रूपकदा
कदा
मह्यं
मह्यं ददाति
ददाति
स्वपदान्तिकम्।
स्वापदान्तिकम्।
वन्देऽहं
वन्देऽहं
श्रीगुरो
श्रीगुरु
श्रीयुतपदकमलं
श्रीयुतपदकमलं
श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवांश्च
श्रीवैष्णवांश्च
श्रीरूपं
श्रीरूपं
साग्रजातं
साग्रजातं
सहगण
सहगणान्वितं
रघुनाथान्वितं
तं
सजीवं
सजीवम्
साद्वैतं
साद्वैतं
सावधूतं
सावधूतं
परिजनसहितं
परिजनसहितं
कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं
कृष्णचैतन्यदेवम्
श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान्
श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान्
सहगण
सह
ललिता
गणललिता
श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिन्धु
करुणासिन्धो
दीनबन्धो
दीनबन्धो जगत्पते
जगत्पते गोपेश
गोपेश
गोपिकान्त
गोपिकान्ता
राधाकान्त
राधाकान्त नमोऽस्तुते।
नमोऽस्तुते। तप्त काञ्चन गौराङ्गे
गौरङ्गी
राधे
राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी
वृन्दावनेश्वरी
वृषभानुसुते
वृषभानुसुते
देवी
देवी प्रणमामि
प्रणमामि
हरिप्रिये।
हरिप्रिये।
वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च
वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च
कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव
कृपासिन्धुभ्येव
च
च
पतितानां पावनेभ्यो
पावनेभ्यो
वैष्णवेभ्यो
वैष्णवेभ्यो
नमो
नमो
नमः।
नमः।
नमः ॐ
नमः ॐ
विष्णुपादाय
विष्णुवाय
कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय
कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय
भूतले
भूतले
श्रीमते
श्रीमते
वेदान्त
भक्तिवेदान्त
स्वामी
स्वामिन्निति
नामिने।
नामिने।
नमस्ते
नमस्ते
सारस्वते देवे
सारस्वते देवे
गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे
गौरवप्रचारिणि निर्विशेषशून्यवादी
निर्विशेषशून्यवादी पाश्चात्य
पाश्चात्यादेशकारिणि।
जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य
श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु
प्रभु
नित्यानंद
नित्यानंद श्री
श्री
अद्वैत
अद्वैत गदाधर
गदाधर श्रीवासादि
श्रीवासादि
गौर
भक्त वृंद।
हरे
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 कृष्णा
कृष्ण कृष्ण
कृष्ण
कृष्ण
कृष्ण
हरे
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 हरे राम
हरे राम राम
राम राम
राम
हरे
हरे हरे।
हरे।
श्री कृष्ण भगवान की जय। श्री भगवान की जय। श्रीमद् भगवद गीता की जय। हरे कृष्ण।
हरे कृष्णा हरे कृष्णा।
Okay, so let me share my screen. We're still four. Madhu Prabhu sent a message that he will join a little late. Uh, Let me open Vedamis. Chapter 10. Start share. Okay. So last week, let me open the advanced view. So last week we read verses from 16, 17, 18, where we're reading from the chapter 10, that is Vibhuti Yoga, where Lord Krishna describes some of his prominent vibhutis or opulences, how he is pervading this material world. So here Arjuna is asking, please tell me in detail your divine opulences by which you pervade all these words. And then further, Arjuna is asking, "Oh Krishna, how shall I constantly think of you? And how shall I know you? And in what various forms are you to be remembered? Keshu keshu cha bhavesi chintosi bhagavanmaya." And he's now asking, requesting Lord Sri Krishna to please elaborate his opulences or vibhutis, vistarena. So please in detail, describe in detail, vistarene atmano yogam vibhutim cha janardana. And he further says that bhuya kataya truptirhi shunvato nāsty me mrutam. That I want to hear more and more about this nectar, because all your opulences and descriptions about you are all amruta, nectarian. And I am never satiated, I am never satisfied by hearing this more and more. So now we are continuing where Lord Sri Krishna starts elaborating on his opulences. So first he says, Hare Krishna Madhu Prabhu.
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी सॉरी थोड़ा लेट
मी आताच सुरू केला आम्ही.
हाँ.
So here Lord Krishna is saying in this verse, then this is where we are starting today. śrī-bhagavān uvāca. So you can repeat.
भगवान् उवाच
ante kathayiṣyāmi.
हन्ते कथय
kathayiṣyāmi
hanta te kathayiṣyāmi.
anta te
हन्ते
kathayiṣyāmi
कथयिष्यामि
divyā ātma-vibhūtayaḥ.
divyāya
दिव्या
ātma-vibhūtayaḥ
आत्मविभूतयः
prādhānyataḥ kuru-śreṣṭha.
prādhānyataḥ
prādhānyataḥ
kuru-śreṣṭha
kuru-śreṣṭha
nāsty anto vistarasya me.
nāsty anto
nāsty
vistarasya
vistarasya me
hanta te kathayiṣyāmi.
anta te kathayiṣyāmi.
kathayiṣyāmi
Let's start with śrī-bhagavān uvāca.
श्रीभगवान् उवाच
hanta te
anta te
kathayiṣyāmi.
हन्तते
हन्ते
कथयिष्यामि
कथयिष्यामि
divyā ātma-vibhūtayaḥ.
दिव्याय
दिव्याय
आत्मविभूतया
विभूतयः
prādhānyataḥ kuru-śreṣṭha.
प्राधान्यतः कुरु श्रेष्ठ
nāsty anto vistarasya me.
नास्त्यन्तो
नास्त्यन्तो
विस्तरस्य मे.
विस्तरस्य मे.
We can take all of this, one recitation probably. Bapu Prabhu, do you want to lead?
Okay. श्रीभगवान् उवाच
श्रीभगवान् उवाच
श्रीभगवानुवाच
हन्त ते कथयिष्यामि
हन्तते
हन्ते
कथयिष्यामि
कथयिष्यामि
दिव्यारात्मविभूतया
divyā
दिव्यात्मविभूतयः
प्राधान्यतः कुरु श्रेष्ठ
प्राधान्यतः कुरु श्रेष्ठ
नास्त्यन्तु विस्तरस्य मे.
नास्त्यन्तो
नास्त्यन्तो
विस्तरस्य
विस्तरस्य
मे.
मे.
So here, word for word translation, Sri Bhagavan Uvacha means the Supreme Personality of Godhead said, or Bhagavan Sri Krishna said. Hanta means yes. Te means unto you or to you. Kathayiṣyāmi, I shall speak. Divyā means divine. He means certainly. Ātma-vibhūtayaḥ means personal opulences, my own opulences. But which prādhānyataḥ, which are principal, only pradhan. Kuru-śreṣṭha, important, yes. Kuru-śreṣṭha. So he's referring this word to Arjuna. O kuru-śreṣṭha, O best of the Kurus. Na-asti or nāsty means there is not. Anta means limit or end. Vistarasya means to the extent, or vistar. Me means my. So here Lord Krishna is telling Arjuna, because Arjuna asked, can you please tell me your opulences in detail or describe them in detail. Vistarena. So Lord Krishna is saying that the Supreme Personality of Godhead said, yes, I will tell you of my splendorous manifestations, but only those which are prominent, prādhānyataḥ, O Arjuna, because my opulence is limitless. Nāsty anta. So he says that na asti anta. Nastyanto vistarasya. For my vistar or my opulence, the way I am expanded or I am all pervading, there is no end to this. So I will tell you some which are prādhānyataḥ or important or prominent. Okay, so let's read the purport. Sunil Prabhu, would you like to read the purport, please? Yeah, this is all. Super.
It is not possible to comprehend the greatness of Krishna and his opulences. The senses of the individual soul are limited and do not permit him to understand the totality of Krishna's affairs. Still, the devotees try to understand Krishna, but not on the principle that they will be able to understand Krishna fully at any specific time or in any state of life. Rather, the very topics of Krishna are so relishable that they appear to the devotees as nectar. Thus, the devotees enjoy them. In discussing Krishna's opulences and his diverse energies, the pure devotees take transcendental pleasure. Therefore, they want to hear and discuss them. Krishna knows that living entities do not understand the extent of his opulences. He therefore agrees to state only the principal manifestations of his different energies. The word
prādhānyataḥ,
prādhānyataḥ, principle, is very important because we can understand only a few of the principal details of the Supreme Lord. For his features are unlimited. It is not possible to understand them all. And vibhuti, as used in this verse, refers to the opulences by which he controls the whole manifestation. In the Amarakosha dictionary, it is stated that vibhuti indicates an exceptional opulence. The impersonalist or pantheist cannot understand the exceptional opulences of the Supreme Lord nor the manifestations of his divine energies. Both in the material world and in the spiritual world, his energies are distributed in every variety of manifestations. Now, Krishna is describing what can be directly perceived by the common man. Thus, part of his variegated energy is described in this way.
Thank you so much, Sunil Prabhu. So, as Krishna said that I will tell only those opulences which are principal or prādhānyataḥ, because there is no limit to my opulence. So, Prabhupada very nicely explains this. It is not possible, it is impossible for any living entity, irrespective how big he is, how learned he is, how knowledgeable he is, to comprehend the greatness of Krishna and his opulences, because we always try to think up to the limit what our intelligence allows us. And that's why many times we talked about this, or even in the Vedic literature, it is said that the scientists or the big philosophers, they whatever they try to understand, but still it is beyond their comprehension to understand God or understand Krishna. And that intelligence, when they try to fit God in their own intelligence, is called upamandukamati, the frog mentality, who lives in a small well, and when he is told that there is an ocean, big ocean away from there, so he's trying to understand ocean only from his understanding of the small well or the puddle where he is living. So he always compares the ocean. Oh, ocean maybe 10 times this or 100 times this, but he's always thinking from his own perspective. He's always comparing with the same well or puddle where he lives. But he can never comprehend the vastness of the ocean. In the same manner, even when Lord Shri Krishna is describing these opulences, he's describing something which to some extent are tangible to us, something where we can understand, oh, this is great. And Krishna says that this greatness is because of me, or I am that greatness. So the sense of individuals, because the senses of individual soul are limited and do not permit him to understand the totality of Krishna's affairs. Our senses, our blunt senses through which we acquire knowledge. So we all know that we have 5 senses for acquiring knowledge. So in Vedic literature, there are, when generally senses are called, these knowledge acquiring senses or jnanendriyas are referred. But in total, we have 11 senses, 5 jnanendriyas, 5 karmendriya, and 1 mind. So this type, 11 senses are there. And mind is the supreme or controller of all these 5 jnanendriyas and 5 karmendriyas or dashendriyas, sometimes they are called. So 5 jnanendriyas are the sense of seeing, sense of smelling, sense of tasting, sense of touching, and sense of hearing. So these senses are not the organs. We generally confuse them with the organs, that eyes are the senses. No, eye is the organ which uses the sense of sight. Somebody may have eyes, but they still may not be able to see. Somebody may have nose, but they may lose their sense of smelling. So nose, eye, ear, these are just organs through which these senses, which are very subtle, they act or they interact to gather knowledge. So our every individual soul, every living entity, based on the body he is given by material nature, has different capacity of each of these senses. But our senses of all living entities are very limited in gathering knowledge, and because of that limitation of the senses, we cannot understand Krishna completely. It is very difficult for us to comprehend. And some of the examples we talk about is even when we say, show me God, or I want to see. But what is our ability to see? We cannot even see. We can see only certain wavelength of light. We cannot see beyond ultraviolet and infrared, that light range, those wavelength. We cannot see beyond that. We can see only within that range. Forget about going into those detail. Even for seeing, we need external aid of light. We cannot see in the dark. Even though I have a vision, what we generally call as 20/20 vision, perfect vision, but unless there is a light outside, I cannot see anything in the dark. So I need external aid to see anything, even though my sense may be perfect. So we are very dependent on external things and lots of things in seeing. And even in spite of that, our ability to see is very limited. And still we claim that I want to see God or show me God, then only I will believe it. Same thing about hearing and touching and all those. Our senses are imperfect and they have their own limitations. So with those limitations, it is very difficult to understand the opulences of God or mysteries of Krishna. So still, but devotees don't care about this. So the devotees, they try to understand Krishna, but not in a way, in a argumentative way or in a challenging way. They just understand Krishna based on the knowledge what we get from authority, which may be some great authorized personalities or a literature, Vedic literature like Srimad Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, Vedas, Puranas, Mahabharata, and so on and so forth, which they accept as authorized and they relish those activities. As Krishna said, we read in the 9th verse of this same chapter, right? Machchitta madgata prana bodhayanta parasparam kathayantascha mam nityam tushyanti cha ramanti cha. Krishna said, my devotees, their thoughts always dwell in me, mat chitta. Their chitta is always thinking of me. Madgata prana bodhayanta parasparam. And they are always conversing with each other. Parasparam bodhayanta. Conversing about what? Only my pastimes or my instructions. They relish. Kathayantascha mam nityam tushyanti cha ramanti cha. And they relish. They are always satisfied. And ramanti, they ramaman होतात त्या माझ्या गोष्टी सांगण्यामध्ये. So that's how they try to understand Krishna, not in a challenging mode. Oh, can he do this? Can you do that? How he is that? Or not finding fault. So they enjoy the pastimes of Krishna, leelas of Krishna and his instructions. Because for them, everything what Krishna does is relishable and nectar. It is like amrit for their ears. And they relish it. And that's why the purpose of Krishna coming to this planet Earth and performing all these planets is the very primary purpose is to perform these pastimes so that the devotees, his devotees who love him, they can relish these pastimes. They can talk about how he killed Putna when he was a small child, or how he danced on Kaliya when he was a small young boy, and which Kaliya serpent was so venomous and so poisonous that just by staying in Yamuna, he has poisoned the whole Yamuna river. Or how he lifted Govardhan on his left hand, pinky, and held it for 7 days, 7 nights straight to protect the residents of Vrindavana from the wrath of Indra, because he is incessantly pouring rain on Vrindavan. So all these, there are so many different, or sometimes even his rasa dance, which is beyond our comprehension, because we always think his rasa dance from material mundane perspective, that a boy and girl dancing, but this is completely beyond our comprehension. So the devotees, they relish these nectarian pastimes, and that is the very primary reason for Krishna to come. Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya cha dushkatam dharma samsthapanarthaya sambhavami yuge yuge. We read this in the 4th chapter. So thus devotee enjoy this, and that's what Arjuna is also said in previous verse, that please tell me, because I am never satisfied. I am never satiated hearing these nectarian instructions, what you are giving me. But because he is limitless, he is God himself, he is Bhagavan, all opulences, everything about him is limitless. Parasya shaktir vividhaiva shruyate swabhavike jnana bala kriyaja. So para means supreme. So his shakti, parasya shaktir vividhaiva, they are unlimited. His energies are unlimited. And they are working so swiftly and naturally that everything that works around us, we take it for granted. We don't realize that so many magical things happening around us. And we talked about this. The flowers are blooming so nicely, and the fragrance is coming from them. And there are sweet, nectarian, juicy fruits are coming. Or there are so many examples. A pomegranate has all the grains inside the fruit are so well organized. Or a coconut trees mainly grow on the seashore. The water of sea or water of ocean is salty, but coconut water, when you drink, it is so tasty, sweet, and nectarian. So how does that salty water is converted into that sweet nectarian water in the coconut? It's magical. So parasya shaktir vividhaiva shruyate swabhavike jnana bala kriyaja. And all this intelligence and force, whatever is acting here, is working so swiftly that we take it for granted and we just say, oh, this is nature. But even Krishna said that this nature also works under my control. It is not independent. Mayadhyakshena prakriti. This prakriti is working. Suyate sacharacharam. And that's why it is very difficult for us to comprehend what his opulences are. But a devotee, a bhakta of Krishna, they don't question all this. They just relish these pastimes. They try to understand to whatever their intelligence allows, and then they relish those pastimes. These are for a pure, because his pure devotees, it is transcendental pleasure. It is divyā ānanda. And therefore, they want to hear and discuss these Krishna's pastimes. So here Krishna said that prādhānyataḥ. So he's not going to explain all, because all his vibhutis are limitless. There is no limit. There is no end to this. But he is going to explain to Arjuna, or for us, some principal vibhutis, some principal opulences. And the word vibhuti, as Prabhupada quotes here from, in the Amarakosha dictionary, which is a dictionary where we get translation about the Sanskrit words, where vibhuti is indicated as exceptional opulences, which are very exceptional, which are not for any mundane person, even though however powerful he may be, but he cannot have that. And we know the definition of Bhagwan, or definition of God, that from the Vishnu Puran, that Parashara Muni, who is father of Vyasadeva, he gives. So a person, according to that definition, a person who is full in all 6 different types of opulences is called Bhagavan. Bhaga means opulence, and one is possesses those opulences. So Bhaga is different types of opulences. One means one who has that, or one who possesses this. Just like we say Balavan, so one who possesses Bala, or Saundaryavan, one who possesses certain beauty, or Dhanavan. But all these opulences, there are 6 in categories. One who possesses them in complete, full, samagra, that person can be called as Bhagavan. And all these, and this definition fits only to Lord Sri Krishna. And the shloka goes something like this: Aishwaryasya samagrasya viryasya yashasasriya jnana vairagyam. So Aishwarya means wealth. Samagra, wealth is basically anything that you own. So land, property, or any wealth, or anything that material possessions you can have. But if Krishna is owner of everything, then he owns everything. Samagra. Aishwaryasya samagrasya. Viryasya. Virya means virata, or strength. And this we saw from many different leela that Krishna performed from materialistic point of view, from very childhood, killing Putana, lifting Govardhan, and killing Kamsa. All these, they are not ordinary. And forget about these opulences. He can make all these, he creates so many universes and maintains them, and so many planets, making them float in certain direction. Everything is impossible for any person. We are very proud that we made some Boeing 777 floating in the air, travel from one place to other place. But he has so many different planets like this, floating and working so nicely in an organized way, and they are orbiting around sun and whatever orbits they are going through. So he's the strongest person. Strength, viryasya. Yasha means fame. So he's famous not only in material, in one universe, but all the universes and all the spiritual planets as well. So nobody can compare his fame. Yasha, Sriya means beauty. And beauty, we talked about his source of all beauty. And there are many places it is said that he is the most beautiful person. Kandarpa Koti Kamaniya Vishesha Shobhan, Brahmaji refers to him. Kandarpa means Madana, one Madana or Cupid, who just by his influence, a boy and a girl gets attracted, or he's so beautiful, it is said that. But when Koti means millions of Kandarpa's beauty put together, that may be comparable with Krishna's beauty. So he's the most beautiful. And there are so many descriptions in Mahabharata as well as Śrīmad-bhagavatam that when Krishna was walking, all the girls and even men would wait and just would continue to watch him, continue to see him. Or even in Śrīmad-bhagavatam, there is very beautiful shloka that the gopis recite. So the gist of that is they cursed Brahma, or they said that how this Brahma created this body that is so faulty. Because we want to see Krishna continuously, but at some point of time we have to blink. So Brahmaji, his design of this body is so faulty that we have to blink our eyes. We want to keep it wide open all the time so that we can drink the nectar of Krishna's beauty through our eyes. So that's very beautiful shloka. Imagine that analogy, that they are blaming Brahma that you created this material body that is with fault, because we want to see Krishna, and now sometimes we have to blink eyes, and in that moment of blinking eyes, we cannot see Krishna. So that is his beauty. And jnana, who can deny about his jnana? Because knowledge like Bhagavad Gita or even the Vedic literature or anything that only Lord Shri Krishna, who is supreme in knowledge, can give. And even putting all this together, he has to incarnate as Vyasdev, Krishna Dvaipayana Vyas, which is none other than Krishna's incarnation. So he comes in and puts this in writing, and then this is for our help. So he is the most knowledgeable person. Rather, he is the source of knowledge, source of everything. And in spite of having all these 5 opulences, he is not attached to anything. He is renounced. That's why vairagya, that is another opulence. So he is full in all these opulences. So all these vibhutis are exceptional vibhutis, which any mundane person cannot have those. Irrespective, forget about material world. Even when we think of Brahmaji or Indra or Lord Shiva, nobody can have these opulences. So that's why he is called Bhagwan. And Prabhupada then defeats that impersonalists or pantheists who don't understand that a god can be a person, who don't accept that Bhagwan can be a person. For them, it is very difficult to understand his opulences, because they think that, oh, God is just a power or something. Because whenever we think, or when somebody tries to tell them that Bhagwan is a person, then obviously, just like we described in the beginning, kopamanduka vritti, they think that whenever they think of a person, they think that a person like me, or somebody who is same as me. So how can a person be a god? And that's what their question is. And then that's why they want to theorize some god, that, oh, God is light, or God is some nature, or God is something like that, or something. So because they cannot comprehend that God can be a person, because they think God is person like them. But in Vedic literature, he said that he's the supreme person. He's the source of everything. And he doesn't have a material body. He has a spiritual body, which is Satchidananda. So that's why it is very difficult for them. They are called Mayavadis or impersonalists or Brahmavadis or pantheists. So they cannot comprehend that Lord Shri Krishna can be a god. They accept him as just a historic person. So yeah, all these. So Krishna is saying that his opulences are limitless. So any thoughts before we go to the next verse, where he starts describing his opulences? Okay, let's read this and then we'll take final reflections. Aham ātmā guḍākeśa.
aham ātmā guḍākeśa.
Aham ātmā guḍākeśa.
aham ātmā guḍākeśa.
sarva-bhūtāśaya-sthitaḥ.
sarva-bhūtāśaya-sthitaḥ.
Aham ādiś madhyaṁ ca.
aham ādiś madhyaṁ ca.
bhūtānām anta eva ca.
भूतानामन्त एव च
aham ātmā guḍākeśa
अहमात्मा गुढाकेश
sarva-bhūtāśaya-sthitaḥ
सर्वभूताश्रयस्थितः
aham ādiś madhyaṁ ca
अहमादिश्च मध्यं च
bhūtānām anta eva ca.
भूतानामन्त एव च
Thank you, Prabhuji. Rajesh Anantaraman Prabhu, you want to read the verse?
अहमात्मा गुढाकेश
aham ātma-vibhūtayaḥ
सर्वभूतश्रयस्थितः
sarva-bhūtāśaya-sthitaḥ
अहमादिश्च मध्यं च
aham
ādiś madhyaṁ ca
भूतानामन्त एव च
bhūtānām.
bhūtānām anta eva ca.
Thank you, Rajesh Prabhu.
हरे कृष्ण
Hare Krishna. So, word for word meaning, aham means I. So, this Krishna is telling about himself. So, here it is Krishna. Atma means the soul. Guḍākeśa. So, he is calling Arjuna as guḍākeśa. Sarva-bhūta means of all living entities. Āshaya-sthitaḥ means situated within the heart. Aham means I am. Ādiś means the origin. Cha means also. Madhyaṁ means the middle. Cha means also. Bhūtānām means of all the living entities. Anta means end. Eva means certainly. Cha means and. So here Lord Krishna is saying, I am the super soul. I am aham ātma-guḍākeśa. I am the soul of the whole universe and everyone. So I am the super soul, O Arjuna, seated in the heart of all living entities. So he is Paramatma in all living entities. Situated in everyone's heart. I am the beginning. So Adi. The middle. I'm just going to mute. So I am the beginning, the middle, and the end of all the beings. So he says, aham adi, madhyam, and anta of all the bhutas, all the living entities. So this is some of his opulences is described. So we have Madhu Prabhu, do you want to read?
No problem. In this verse, Arjuna is addressed as guḍākeśa, which means one who has conquered the darkness of sleep. For those who are sleeping in the darkness of ignorance, it is not possible to understand how the Supreme Personality of Godhead manifests himself in various ways in the material and spiritual worlds. Thus, this address by Krishna to Arjuna is significant because Arjuna is above such darkness. The personality of Godhead agrees to describe his various opulences. Krishna first informs Arjuna that he is the soul of the entire cosmic manifestation by his primary expansion. Before the material creation, the Supreme Lord, by his plenary expansion, accepts the Purusha incarnation, and from him everything begins. Therefore, he is ātma, the soul of the Mahat-tattva, the universal elements. The total material energy is not the cause of the creation. Actually, the Mahavishnu enters into the Mahat-tattva, the total material energy. He is the soul. When Mahavishnu enters into the manifested universes, he again manifests himself as a super soul in each and every entity. We have experienced that the personal body of the living entity exists due to the presence of the spiritual spark. Without the existence of the spiritual spark, the body cannot develop. Similarly, the material manifestation cannot develop unless the Supreme Soul, Krishna, enters. As stated in the Subala Upanishad, Prakriti Adi Sarva Bhūtāntara Sarva-sesi cha Naradaya. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is existing as the Supersoul in all manifested universes.
Thank you, Prabhu. Rajesh Parve, Prabhu, you want to read the next? Last paragraph. Yeah, Rajesh Parve, Prabhu joined, right?
Hello.
Yeah.
Can you hear?
Yes.
The three Purusha avatars are described in śrī-bhagavān. They are also described in the Narada
Pancharatra.
Narad Paricharatra.
Pancharatra.
Oh, Pancharatra. Narad Pancharatra. One of the Satvata Tantras, Vishnu's tu tridi rupani kuru-śreṣṭha ato vidua.
त्रीणि रूपाणि पुरुषाख्यानि अतो विदु.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead manifests three features as kuru-śreṣṭha Vishnu, garbho-śreṣṭha Vishnu, and shiro-śreṣṭha Vishnu. In this material manifestation, the Mahavishnu or kuru-śreṣṭha Vishnu is described in the Brahma Samhita. Ya karnarnava jale
भजति
yogam nidram. The Supreme Lord Krishna, the cause of all causes, lies down in the cosmic ocean as Mahavishnu. Therefore, the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the beginning of this universe, the maintainer of the universal manifestations, and the end of all energy.
Thank you so much, Rajesh Prabhu. So very strong, actually, very nicely explained. So here Lord Krishna said that I am the super soul of all the living entities as well as the whole creation or this universe. So just like Prabhupada gives an example that just like a living entity, this body is dead body, material body. As long as the soul resides in the body, it is working and it is moving about and it is called a living body. So in the same manner, the whole creation, the whole universe is working only when Krishna himself enters it as Paramatma or the super soul. And at the same time, he also enters in each and every atom and each and every living entity as Paramatma. So he is the super soul seated in the hearts of all the living entities. And he is also the origin, beginning, middle as a maintainer, and the end as an annihilator for everything. So Prabhupada explains the whole creation process in a very briefly in this verse, in the purport, which is very nicely explained in Srimad Bhagavatam, the whole creation of this whole material energy or material universe. But here, Arjuna is described as or addressed as guḍākeśa. So this is second time he is addressed as guḍākeśa. In the very first chapter also he is addressed as guḍākeśa. Guḍaka means sleep and isha means controller. So one who has control on his sleeping is called guḍākeśa. So sleeping is also called as that we are all sleeping because we are in ignorance. So our current state, not from material point of view, but we are from the knowledge, real spiritual knowledge perspective, we are sleeping. We are in the darkness of this ignorance. And that's why one who is above that, one who has awakened his spiritual understanding, one who has awakened his knowledge about himself as he is a spiritual being, he is a soul, and his relationship with Krishna and about Krishna, that is called the self-realization or ātma-vibhūtayaḥ. So that knowledge, that person is called awakened. And Arjuna is awakened here. So Krishna is addressing here him as guḍākeśa, that one who has conquered on this sleep of darkness of ignorance. So for those who are sleeping in the darkness of ignorance, it is not possible to understand how Lord Shri Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, manifests himself in different spiritual worlds and material worlds. It is very difficult for him to comprehend. And that how he manifests himself in many creations or even the spiritual forms and everything that is described in many Vedic literatures. śrī-bhagavān is one, in Vishnu Puran is there, and then also in the Brahma Samhita, it is very nicely described. So this whole creation, the spiritual creation, spiritual world where Lord Krishna himself and there are many Vaikuntha planets where he is residing in the Vishnu forms, different Vishnu forms. But in the topmost planet in the Vaikuntha Loka, that is Goloka Vrindavan Dham, he is eternally residing there with Krishna, Radhā-Rañjana, and all his different Gopi friends and performing his Leela eternally. So those different sections, I can probably share this one picture that is drawn according to the Brahma Samhita. So he is the soul of the Mahat-tattva, or the Mahat-tattva is the element that is created before creation of even the universes happen. And from that agitation of Mahat-tattva, all the universes come in, all the elements are created, starting with the subtle element of what is called Akash or ether. From that, when Akash is agitated with the three modes of material nature, the next element, the grosser element than subtle element, is created as air. Then from that comes fire, then water, and then the most gross element as earth. So in that order, these elements are created, and then whole creation happens. And then there are three Vishnus. Vishnuni Trini Rupani, that Prabhupada mentions here. Vishnostu Trini Rupani, Purushakyani Ato Vidhu. This is from the Narada Pancharatra, one of the Satvata Tantras that is given. So that Vishnu in three Purusha avatars, Purusha incarnations. These three Purusha incarnations are the source of this whole material creation, the material universe. So let me open that image actually. So it will be easier for us to understand. Stop sharing, share this. So this is very beautiful chart of whole creation is drawn based on several Vedic literature, prominently śrī-bhagavān, Narada Pancharatra, Brahma Samhita, etc. So if you see, there are 4 different lokas are given here, 4 different categories. So in the Brahma Samhita, there is very beautiful verse. Goloka namni nija dhamni talecha tasya. Devi Mahesha Haridhama suteshu teshu. Tete prabhava nichaya vihitaśyayena govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami. Lord Brahma, when he's offering prayers to Krishna, he describes all this, that one who you are residing in your own dham or abode, that is called Goloka Vrindavan. Goloka namni nija dhamni. So the Dhamma with name of Goloka, which is your Nija Dhamma, your own abode. You are eternally residing there. So this is the topmost here. If you see this lotus flower, where in the middle, this Lord Krishna and with his associates is eternally performing Leela or pastimes. So here he's Radha Krishna, and then his Ashtasakhi, which are on the different petals. And then there are different pastimes. They are eternally performing here in this Goloka Vrindavan. So that is the topmost planet. And then he describes Talecha Tasya. Under that, there are three different categories of Dhamma. So starting from him, he says Devi. So this material world in the bottom is called Devi Dham, which is controlled by Durga Devi or Maya Devi. Then Mahesh Dham. So on the border of the spiritual realm on the material world is Mahesh Dham, or the abode of Sadashiv. So Sadashiv is actually expansion of Vishnu, incarnation of Vishnu, who lives in the spiritual world, and his expansion is Lord Shambhu, who is given in charge for maintenance and creation of this material creation. And then above that in the spiritual world is Haridham or Vaikuntha planets. So when we say Vaikuntha, it is this whole Dhama where there are innumerable Vaikuntha planets. So if you see here, there are innumerable Vaikuntha planets. There are different types of Vishnu Murtis there. They are eternally residing. And there are also different incarnations like Varaha and other. They have their own abodes in this Vaikuntha planet. And the effulgence of this spiritual realm, or Krishna's effulgence, it's called Brahma Jyoti. So this is Brahma Jyoti. And on the border of this spiritual realm and the material world, there is it is separated by a river called Viraja River, or it is so big that it is also called as Karana Ocean or Causal Ocean. Now, in this ocean, the first Purusha incarnation, we read, right? Vishnu's Trini Rupani. So, first Purusha incarnation, that is Karanodakshaya Vishnu or Mahavishnu, who is lying in the Yoga Nidra in this ocean. And from his bodily pores, it is described, these golden egg-like universes are coming continuously. Just like we breathe, so Mahavishnu, when he breathes, from all his bodily pores, all these different universes in the golden shape of eggs are coming. And here, now, this Mahavishnu glances over the material nature or Maya Devi. So if you see, his glance is shown here, but he never comes in contact directly with Maya Devi. Even this glance is always going through Rama Devi, which is his spiritual energy, or Lakshmi Ji, because he never ever comes in contact with Maya, or neither Maya can directly approach Vishnu. So Maya is consort of Shambhu in this material nature, and this Maya is the one who is agency who facilitates creation, maintenance, and annihilation. Srishti, Sthiti, Pralaya, Sadhana, Shakti, Rekha, Chaiva, Yasya Bhuvanani, Vibharti, Durga. So that Durga, who is the agency by which Srishti, Sthiti, Pralaya, creation, maintenance, and annihilation, Sadhana Shakti. So this is the agency that facilitates creation, maintenance, and annihilation of this whole material creation. Sadhana Shakti. And this is one of the Shaktis of Lord Vishnu or Krishna. But she is like Chaya, Chayeva Yasya, Bhuvanani Vibharti Durga. So she is like shadow. And that's why everything under her control is always in darkness. She is like shadow of him. Chayeva Yasya, Bhuvanani. There are unlimited universes and material creations. Bhuvanani Vibharti are created and maintained as under her agency, Durga. And is she working independently? No. It says that Ichhanurupam api yasya cheshtate sa. So she is working according to the Ichha of Krishna or Lord Vishnu. which same thing we read in the Bhagavad Gita also. Krishna says that mayadhyakshena prakriti suyate characharam, that this prakriti or this material nature or this divine energy Maya, which works under my adhyakshata. So she is the one, this Maya or Durga, she is the one who facilitates the maintenance, creation and annihilation of each universe. And she is the one who is all Durga. So the name Durga comes from one who is controller of Durga. Durga means fort or fortress, which is very difficult to get out of. Durga. Dur means difficult, Ga means to get out of it. Go. So the place from where for the living entities to very, very difficult to go out. So that is Durga or fortress or jail. And the jailer of that Durga is Durga. So she is the one controlling this whole creation and making sure that all these living entities are controlled and punished properly. So the Trishul, what she is holding is the three miseries, Adhyatmik, Adi-bhautik and Adi-daivik, which all of us are continuously experiencing. Adhyatmik means once those are created and experienced by myself, by my body or by my mind. Adi-bhautik are those who are given to me by other living entities, like even one of the examples is mosquito. That also gives me trouble. And then other living entities like who are in human form or dog form or any other living entities by which I am suffering. So that is Adi-bhautik. And Adi-daivik are the natural calamities like famine, forest fire, earthquake, tsunami, all these type of calamities. Those are beyond any human control. They are called Adi-daivik. And every one of us are suffering because of these difficulties or these miseries. And that's why she's holding that Trishul. So she's continuously giving us notice that this is not the place of enjoyment, this is place of miseries. So she is the one here. So that dham, so the creation, that three Vishnus are mentioned. This is first Vishnu, Karanodakashayi Vishnu or Mahavishnu. So from his bodily pores, each universe coming out, and then he enters in each and every universe as the second Mahavishnu or Purusha Avatara as Garbhodakashayi Vishnu. So who is half of this universe is filled with water that the Garbhodakashayi Vishnu is coming from perspiration of Garbhodakashayi Vishnu. And he's sleeping on the bed of Ananta Shesha. So this is the second Purusha incarnation. And these are all for only maintenance of this material creation. And then after this creation, when there is a lotus that sprouts from his navel, and on the top of that Brahmaji is born, and that Brahmaji offers him prayers for thousands of celestial years, and then he is given direction for creation. And then these 14 different planetary systems are created, starting with Satyaloka or Brahmaloka to the lowest is Patala Loka. So we are in the middle in the Bhuloka. And then he enters as a third Purusha incarnation, which is shown here as Paramatma or Kshirodakashayi Vishnu. He has his abode here. And he has his abode in this material universe as a Kshirodakashayi Vishnu. But he enters in every atom and every living entity's heart as Paramatma. Without Paramatma, nothing can move. He is the source of all the energies in this material creation. So that's what Krishna says, that aham ādiś madhyaṁ bhūtānām anta evacha. So this verse, even this line is much deeper, that he is the Adi, Madhya and Anta of all the living entities, including this universe as well. So, and then there is a Mahesh Dham here and Haridham we talked about, but this is what in this from today's verse perspective, this is what I wanted to discuss, the three Purusha incarnations, the Karanodakashaya Vishnu, Garbhodakashaya Vishnu, and Shirodakashaya Vishnu. So these are the three Purusha incarnations. So let me share. So yeah, that's what Prabhupada mentions here, and this is what Krishna is saying, that is one of some of his opulences, that he is the Atma of all the living entities, and he is the beginning, middle, and end of all the beings. So this is the very first verse. He starts describing his vibhuti. So I will stop there, and we can take some reflections. It's already 38. So any thoughts, Prabhuji, any reflections?
Really, the wondrous super soul cannot be explained, but every single being, be it an amoeba to a elephant to a human being, whatever, call it a tree, call it anything that is animate, has that soul in it.
Even
And
animate, in every atom itself.
yes,
Anjantarascha paramanu chayantarastham.
correct. So matter itself is something that we see as, dead thing, but even that has his super soul, the sign of Sri Krishna. It is amazing. That kind of imagination itself is something beyond lovely.
Yeah. It's very hard to understand even, but in theory we can.
It is hard to even imagine, forget understand.
Yeah.
Visualize hot nahi na. It's way beyond.
Beyond conception, yeah. So even though I am saying something, it's I'm just repeating the words which I have learned from different scriptures, and
no, we can continue to use the superlative words like great, greater, big, biggest. But how big is that biggest? Where it ends.
Yeah. Thank you, Rajesh Prabhu.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Any other thoughts, Prabhuji's? Thank you, Sunil Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
So, anything you want to share? Yeah, yes.
म्हणजे श्रीकृष्णाचं रूप किंवा श्रीकृष्ण काय हे तर शब्दांनी किंवा आपल्या बुद्धीने आकलन करण्याच्या पलीकडे आहे. म्हणजे हे अख्खं विश्वच सगळं व्यापलेलं आहे. आणि ते सुद्धा प्रत्येकाच्या हृदयात, प्रत्येक जीविताच्या याच्यामध्ये आहे म्हणा किंवा मोठं आहे. तर मला कधी कधी हा प्रश्न पडतो की हे एवढं मोठं विश्वरूप आकलन होणं हे सुद्धा कुठल्या म्हणजे हे कसं काय, हे कुणाला आकलन झालं असेल? हे देवा स्वतः शिवाय हे कुणाला शक्यच नाही आहे. किंवा कुठल्या ऋषीमुनींना सुद्धा हे प्रत्यक्ष त्यांना तरी शक्य आहे का हे मला नाही वाटत. म्हणजे हे स्वतः श्रीकृष्ण सांगितल्याशिवाय किंवा
in fact, when he showed it, most of them were blinded. They couldn't even see that rope. In the Mahabharata, when
हे शक्यच नाही, म्हणजे ते डोक्याच्या म्हणजे नॉर्मल बुद्धीला पोहोचणारच नाहीये ते. म्हणजे
आपल्या एफर्टने शक्य नाहीये, त्याच्या मर्सीने शक्य आहे.
करेक्ट.
त्याला कृष्णाचीच कृपा पाहिजे तरच ते शक्य आहे ते जाणून घेणं.
आणि
Other-
by his mercy we are going to get a glimpse of it in next chapter.
Yes.
Okay.
11वा अध्याय पूर्ण तोच आहे, विराट रूप दर्शन योग.
हम्म, हम्म.
By his mercy we are going to get a glimpse of it.
Glimpse of it.
ही चर्चा मी एक हा फोटो इंटरनेटवर एक फोटो बघितला होता. एक नासाने पब्लिश केलेला आहे. नासाचं व्हॉयेजर यान हे शनी ग्रहाच्या जवळ गेल्यानंतर आणि तिथून पृथ्वीकडे बघताना फोटो काढलेला आहे. फ्रॉम नियरेस्ट पॉइंट ऑफ शनी ग्रह जो आहे तो एवढाच असं टायनी डॉट दिसतो चमकणारा आकाशात, एवढाच. आणि पृथ्वी आहे असं समजायचं, असं म्हणायचं की पृथ्वी आहे आकाशातलं. असं म्हणजे असं कोणी मला कधी कोणी पाहिलं नसेल, म्हणजे कदाचित त्याच्यामुळे ते शक्य झालं. पृथ्वीकडे आकाशातनं बघताना कसं दिसत असेल.
नाही, तो राकेश शर्मा जेव्हा मूनवर गेलेला, तो मूनवरनं पृथ्वी मून सारखाच दिसत होता. आपल्याला जसा आता मून दिसतो ना, तसा त्याला मूनवरनं पृथ्वी दिसत होता. सो इट वॉज जस्ट ॲज स्मॉल.
जस्ट एक अंधारात बुडालेली अर्धा भाग दिसतोय, अर्धा उघडा, असं ते काहीतरी दिसत.
सो कसं आपण दिवाळीला किंवा क्रिसमसला ते जिंगल लटकवतात ना, कसं दिसतं ते.
एक्झॅक्टली. तर म्हणजे केवढा अथांग आहे. मला म्हणायचं काय की जस्ट इट्स अ टायनी डॉट या प्रचंड विश्वातला. त्या पृथ्वीवरचं आपलं अस्तित्व म्हणजे एक नॅनो 10⁻⁻⁻⁻ एवढ्या साईजचा तो बिंदू आहे आपलं. असं म्हणजे, आणि हे सगळं चलत आहे, हे सगळं हलत आहे. हे प्रत्येकाला त्याची दिशा आहे, वेग आहे, आणि एनर्जी आहे.
ते सगळं कॉन्स्टंट आहे,
आणि हे सगळं कॉन्स्टंट आहे.
इट डझंट सडनली चेंज.
एक्झॅक्टली.
असं नाही होत का बाबा मून वाट चुकून कुठेतरी जाऊन ठोकला.
असं पण नाहीये. त्याला त्याचा पाथ, डिक्लेअर्ड पाथ मध्ये ते फिरतात आहे, शांतपणे फिरतात. ओके. मग हे येतं की हे कसं शक्य आहे, हे करता करविता कोण आहे, याचा हे बघणारं कोण. म्हणजे त्यावरनं म्हणायचं की किती मोठं ते रूप आहे, किती अथांग आहे ते सगळं, प्रचंड.
करेक्ट.
बियॉन्ड इमॅजिनेशन. आपण फारच टायनी आहोत. म्हणजे असं म्हणजे एखाद्या मोठ्या हॉल मधला एक छोटासा एक डस्ट पार्टिकल असतो ना, त्याला या टोकापासून त्या टोकापर्यंत जायला सुद्धा त्याला शक्य नाही, असं तो प्रकार. म्हणजे अॅनालॉजी म्हणायची असेल तर.
करेक्ट. न्यूटन म्हणाला ना, ग्रेन ऑफ सँड इन द ओशन सारखा.
ग्रेन ऑफ सँड इन ओशन.
करेक्ट.
ट्रिमेंडस एनर्जी आहे ही, प्रचंड एनर्जी आहे, खूप मोठी. आणि ही मटेरियल पण एनर्जी आहे आणि स्पिरिच्युअल जे म्हणलेलं आहे हे खरं आहे. म्हणजे थोडं थोडं आपल्यामध्ये आहे ते सगळं.
नाही, बट यू नो व्हॉट, हा एनर्जी युटिलाइज करायची पण आपल्या सनातन धर्मातला ऑल दिस द वेदास and our practices have been about increasing that prana, meaning utilizing the world energy, the universal energy, which means imagine the kind of scientific thought at that time. Even that has been kind of defined.
तर मला असं वाटतं की आपण आता आपले खूप प्रयत्न चालू आहेत की आकाशात जाणे आणि शोधणे, पाहणे वगैरे. आपण बरीच यानं अवकाशात सोडतोय आणि स्पेस स्टेशन वगैरे आहे. बट पूर्वीच्या काळी बाय अदर मीन्स हे सगळे जे आपले काही ऋषीमुनी असतील किंवा ते सायंटिस्टच होते म्हणा सगळेजण.
Yes, absolutely.
तर they were able to go there and by there is some other means की they were able to see the whole thing actually.
Yes.
आणि म्हणजे त्यांना कदाचित ह्या सगळ्या म्हणजे द लॉर्ड, हु इज द लॉर्ड, आणि यांचं थोडं म्हणजे देवाचीच कृपा झाली असेल आणि त्यामुळे त्यांनी ते पाहू शकले असतील हे सगळ्या गोष्टी.
त्याशिवाय
आणि
शिक्षण-
नाही, but that reminds me of one thing. जेव्हा मून मध्ये जात होतो ना, around that time in the 60s or 70s there was one gentleman in Pune.
हा
त्यांचा इंटरव्ह्यू पण झालेला दूरदर्शनवर. I was a kid then. So he had named a few spots on Mars, which when they sent the rover they could find.
इज इट?
In that interview, that lady asked him, so how do you decide? म्हणतो, काही नाही, I just sit in meditation and I decide I want to go to Mars, I go. He has said about some other planet also, about 5-6 points he had mentioned, you will find these landmarks. And the rover found those landmarks in Mars. They have not gone beyond. So Mars मध्ये बघितलं.
ग्रेट.
we
That's
don't
so-
know about that, but yeah, these are all.
He said it so simply. अजूनही गुगल मध्ये बहुतेक मिळेल. Because I think I remember that interview very vividly, because that man so matter of factly said, that lady asked, so how do you decide? काही नाही, I sit in meditation and I decide where I want to go. So if a human that I have seen had that, you can imagine the kind of power the saints would have had.
Even that siddhi is called material siddhi, which is very, what do you call, insignificant. The
Okay.
Ashtasiddhi,
That is
Ashtasiddhi, they are
material.
described in the Ashtasiddhi. So a yogi can achieve
Yes.
Ashtasiddhi. Ishita,
Yes.
what are those? Let me try to think. Ishita, Vashita, Prapti. I'm forgetting some. But all these are material siddhis, and these are not even, they actually are impediments on your spiritual journey.
Okay.
Somebody may get proud of, and even today there are less people, but even today there are sages in Himalaya who have this material siddhi.
Who have this? Yes.
So these are all material siddhis, but they might become impediment or obstacle on your Krishna consciousness, because that becomes what do you call, hurdle, because you may get proud of those and may get stuck in those.
पण ते जर सिद्धी म्हणजे लोक कल्याण किंवा समाज कल्याण किंवा काय इतर विश्व कल्याण यासाठी वापरण्यात आलं तर काय?
What is
हरकत
Vishwa
नाही.
Kalyan? What is Loka Kalyan? Because if by doing any means you are going to get stuck in this material world where there are main 4 problems, Janma, Mrityu, Jara, Vyadhi, which nobody is free. And 3 miseries we talked about, Adi Bhautik, Adi Daivik, and Adhyatmik, which nobody is free of. What Jan Kalyan we are doing? Unless you get free from this material world and do your real duty, Swadharma, spiritual dharma, that is real Jana Kalyan, which many of our sages have done or tried to do in the past in many ways. All these saints, they tried to say, Krishna, just chant name of Krishna. Hari Mukhe Mana, Pulyachi Ganana Kona Kari. The path is simple. We don't need to, actually, let me give an example. To live a healthy life, we know we don't need a 5-star hotel where we can get biryani and so on. But people are working hard to build a 5-star hotel. But we are not. Our need is just get a nutritious, nice food, which is healthy.
Correct.
Need is simple. But we think that, oh, somebody built a very big 5-star hotel, he is doing Jana Kalyan. That is not required. The simple Jana Kalyan is one who gives the real thing to everyone and to the best of his ability, and people accept it. And when Prabhupada came, he traveled all over the world. He just told them, chant Hare Krishna.
Yes.
And today, at every city and town of this world, or every country at least, there are people chanting Hare Krishna, irrespective of their background. And they are feeling bliss, the real ananda, just by chanting Hare Krishna. In every town I travel, there is either a temple or even a small congregation of ISKCON.
Yes.
When I look for it, but I go and look for that. And
Hmm.
that those people, irrespective of my background, where I coming from, they are so loving
Hmm.
that they treat me as a family member.
Correct.
And here in our congregation, in ISKCON Sacramento, we have people from Ukraine, we have people from Mexico, we have people from Russia, we have black people, we have white people,
Yeah.
we have Fijian, we have Indian, we have everyone.
Yes.
So people find meaning of life. Actually,
Yes.
people find the way of life in our way of
Our
Sanatana
scriptures.
Dharma, actually.
And when I say our scriptures, we should be proud that these are
Our spirituality,
these are
actually, I'm
scriptures actually for the whole humanity, not our scriptures. There is no
Exactly.
copyright on this. Krishna
there is
never
no-
said that, oh, this is a copyrighted Bhagavad Gita. Arjuna, I am telling you, don't tell anyone. There was no copyright.
Which is why Sanatana has never believed
Yeah.
in
So this is
any kind of
open knowledge.
असंच सांगत होते ना की हिंदू धर्म हा उपासना धर्म नाही, हिंदू धर्म हा जीवन पद्धती शिकवणारा धर्म आहे.
Correct.
सनातन धर्म
Yes.
म्हणजे उपासना करून तुम्हाला वेड करून मॅड करणारा हा धर्म नाहीये.
And that is real science, because today
त्यामध्ये जीवन पद्धतीवर दुर्लक्ष होतं आणि तुम्ही कशा रीतीनं हे करतात ते नाहीये.
Correct.
हिंदू धर्म हा जीवन पद्धती शिकवणारा धर्म आहे, सनातन धर्म. कशा रीतीनं उत्तम जीवन जगावं, काय बोलावं, काय वाचावं, काय करावं, हे सगळं. करेक्ट आहे, ते तसंच आहे. आणि कदाचित त्यामुळेच तो लोकांना जास्त, म्हणजे आपल्याकडे फॅनेटिक्स कमी आहेत त्याच्यामुळे आहेत. तर आपण चांगलं जीवन कसं जगावं हे शिकवतो, वाईट कसं व्हावं किंवा वेड कसं व्हावं हे शिकवत नाही आपण, आपला धर्म. करेक्ट ना?
वेड कसं व्हावं, पण वेड कुठल्या कारणासाठी व्हावं आणि कसं व्हावं, दुसऱ्याला त्रास न देता ते पण शिकवतो.
एक्झॅक्टली.
वेड व्हावं, पण कृष्णाच्या प्रेमात वेड व्हावं. कृष्णाच्या प्रेमात जो वेडा होतो दुसऱ्याला कधीच त्रास देत नाही.
कधी त्रास देत.
म्हणजे तेच सांगतो की मग आता काय आहेत असं तुलनात्मक, म्हणजे आपले काय प्लस पॉइंट जे आहेत ते हे आहेत सगळं.
नाही, म्हणूनच आपलं काही आज निगेटिव्ह दिसतात ते सुद्धा इज अ रिझल्ट ऑफ दॅट. वी आर नॉट पीपल हु विल फाईट फॉर द रॉंग थिंग्स. फॅनेटिसिझम अजिबात नाहीये,
अजिबात नाही.
त्याला आता टॉलरन्स म्हणतात, त्याला आता म्हणतात वी आर लॉस्ट आवर सेल्फ काइंड ऑफ बिअरिंग वगैरे वगैरे.
आपण लोकांना अकोमोडेट पण करतो बऱ्यापैकी.
एक्झॅक्टली.
Yeah.
I think we'll stop here. It is already 11 almost here. But nice discussion.
Okay.
One thing, the message, real message is this is very important, rather the most important thing for human beings.
Correct.
And we should find some other way to make sure that we have time for this. So we try to understand this, and we are fortunate that we get to discuss these things. And आपण एकमेकाशी बोलतो, हे त्याचं महत्व जाणून घ्यायचा प्रयत्न करतो. And then chant Krishna, Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Or if somebody, Prabhupada also said, if you don't like Hare Krishna Mahamantra, which is the best mantra for Kali Yuga, but if you have any authorized name of God, authorized from scripture, then chant that name. Doesn't matter. But take name of God. And
only Sahasranama has got 1008. So
Yes.
any of those names will do.
Yeah. So that's what the message is. And the what do you call it? The process for Kali Yuga is very simple, and it is described in many places in Shastra. It's not that somebody concocted it, because people concoct religions these days. People come up with new religions, but this is not concocted. This is proven. This is
Correct.
This is coming from the scriptures, which are coming directly from God Himself. And
Yes.
people have accepted this all across the world. And these are not, this is, again, Krishna says that this is for the very intelligent people. It is not for any Tom, Dick, Harry.
Correct.
So any intelligence person who is trying to comprehend this, he will see this, see value in this, and they will definitely accept this. And that's why if you see, in many parts of the world, the people who have accepted this path are very learned, really educated, and they see the value in this. And
Yes.
they have dedicated their lives for this. They are from very big organizations, very really intelligent people.
So many Nobel Prize winners have said that the basis of their knowledge was all this.
So yes, this is very important, and we should try to utilize our time as much as possible for this. We have limited time. So
Yes.
make the best use of bad bargaining, as Prabhupada always used to say. We are in a very precarious situation. We are always suffering. We are always, and we will be in precarious situation as long as we are here in this world. But this is very bad bargaining, but make the best use of bad bargain. So I think we'll stop here. Thank you so much, Bapu Prabhu, for joining today. I hope this was helpful, and we hope to see you again.
Yes. Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.
Very- Thank you.
Hare
Thank
Hare
you very
Krishna.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. We'll stop here.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.